Welcome to the Live Bright Show, the pod for badass service-based entrepreneurs who are creating businesses and lives that are fun, successful, and free. And now your host, seven-figure business owner, coach, and founder of the Live Bright movement, here to help you own your potential, Molly Moran.
Hey everyone, I'm here today with Aaron Coleman. Aaron is a friend of mine. He's the owner of Platinum Star Cleaning Services in Easton, Pennsylvania. He comes from the food and beverage industry. He's a very, very involved community member, rebuilding and rehabbing old buildings like the train station in his town. He does lots of charitable donations to Cleaning for a Reason and other organizations. And he's just like a very cool guy. And I am so excited to have him here with me today. Aaron, welcome to the Live Bright Show.
Hey, Molly, how are you? It's so great to be with you today. It's great to see you.
So good. It's so great to see you too. I'm loving your hair. You've got a nice little haircut going on.
Got a fresh cut today, just for you.
I like it. Aaron, tell us what's behind. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
I was gonna say I just knew that your hair would be on point, so I had to go get a haircut. Yeah.
Well, thank you. You know, I tell everyone I've got to do whatever I can for height, you know, especially as I age and I get shorter and shorter, my hair is probably going to get bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
Aaron, tell us, I see a ladder behind you in this picture. Tell us about what that is there.
So I am sitting in our future home. Finally, we have, we closed on a building that we had purchased in downtown Easton, Pennsylvania. And we basically put our business downstairs. And then we built a 2,000 square foot living space loft upstairs. And we are almost done. So we're hoping the end of October. So we just moved our furniture in this past weekend. We didn't care. We said to the contractor, look, you're behind schedule. We got to get this done. So we figured if we might push them a little bit more if we have the furniture inside.
That's a good call. That's going to be amazing. So you're going to be living above your business.
Yeah. So we live upstairs. There's a staircase behind me that actually goes to the roof. We built a staircase going up to the roof. So we'll wind up having an outdoor space upstairs too on the roof. And then it's 2,000 square feet on this floor. And then downstairs is going to be 2,000 square feet of office space, but we're going to do the front of that space as a flex space for people to have business meetings, luncheons, small business conferences. And then also there's going to be a staircase going to the basement because there's an old speakeasy in the basement as well.
Oh my God. Okay. So I usually start these pods in a very specific way. And we talk about like how you became an entrepreneur, but I need to go here for a second. Like this is so cool. So first of all, I love that you are building out the front of the space. So are you going to share that with other community organizations so that they can?
Yes. And other businesses as well. So, we're a couple of doors down from the State Theater. And they have a lot of groups that go in. So we're actually putting in like a mini kitchen downstairs, ADA bathrooms. So this way, if there was large groups that wanted to have like a catered dinner, they can actually come in and have dinner and then walk right to the theater, which is right up the street. So, and
that's awesome.
Also,
where does that come from? Like so I have known you, I followed you, you like redid the whole train station in your town. You put on a festival. You've, like I said, you give lots to charity. Like, where does this community mindedness thing come from? Yeah,
I think that it's just, I've always kind of been a visionary. And I think that, we all have this capability of having these ideas and these visions. And my thing is that when I think about something, and my husband hates me for it sometimes, it's that I'm like, I have this idea, and then he just puts his head down and he's like,
oh God,
no, what now? What are we gonna do now? And I'm like, so I just kind of have these ideas, and I'm like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you move on, and you never make that mistake again of doing something like that. And if it does work, then it's successful. So I think that, I kind of live my life where, and I tell my employees this, is never have any what ifs in your life. And that's really important, because if you have an idea, you should act on it and do it, because at the end of your life, you don't want to say, well, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? And that's how I kind of just look at things. I just kind of look at it. I have an idea and I'm like, okay, let's run with it. Let's see if it's successful. Let's see if it turns out right. And if it does, it's great. If it doesn't, then you learn that lesson of why, and you can kind of dissect it as an entrepreneur and kind of
Right.
look at it and say, well, why didn't this work? What happened here? How did it fall apart? Or was it, a lot of the times it's not the right timing, because I think as entrepreneurs, we're just a little bit ahead of the game sometimes when we see
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And
yeah.
also, I mean, how do you, I have like two questions, so I'll start with one, but I mean, as a visionary, I'm sure you have a gazillion ideas, right? So then how do you kind of choose between all, I mean, me too. I'm like, oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do this. Like
Yeah.
I started this podcast. Well, guess what? I have an idea for two other podcasts and I just started this
Yeah.
one. And I'm like, okay, wait, slow your roll, Moran, And so
Yeah.
so how do you decide which opportunities and things you're going to pursue?
I think that, and I'm sure probably a lot of other people suffer from this too, is like finishing our projects, right? Because we have like always 500 projects to do. Because we are entrepreneurs. So we're always like, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. So what I've been doing recently, which helps, is just focusing on my top three. And just kind of building out my boards on those three projects and what needs to be done on that board to complete that project. And taking breaks, I think, is super important because you can't focus 8 hours on one project. It's just impossible. You'll burn out, and then all of a sudden you're just like clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking, and you're wasting hours at the end of the 8 hours that you're trying to spend time in doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think you're so right on that. I mean, I believe in like the breaks during the day as well as the longer breaks. Like it's so essential to take that space to
Yes.
clear our minds and move our bodies, get the blood flowing
Hmm.
in a different way, all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We have
Absolutely.
this beautiful fountain in the downtown, and it's right in the circle. And sometimes I'll just get up from my desk and I'll just walk down. It's like 2 blocks away, and I'll just sit there because they have, the sound of the water is just calming.
Mm.
And you just, taking a break for 10, 15 minutes is amazing for your jump start to get back into something because you're refreshed. You might have had a new idea. You might think to yourself that, okay, that's not working, and how do I do this? Or just closing your eyes and asking for guidance. That whole intuition part is a big part of my life now since becoming sober.
Oh gosh, okay. Aaron, we're going to talk for hours. Actually, we're not, because I want to respect your time. But okay. So talk to me about. Well, actually, before I go there, I want to ask you, how do you said you have an idea and you're like, okay, let's go for it. Like basically you don't want to have regrets. Is kind of what I'm pulling from that,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
so where does your confidence come from in just acting and going for things and being like, I'm going to do it? I mean, and I mean, you did starting a business too, right? So tell me
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. I think that it's kind of it's that intuition. So I think that that's like our mind is telling us something. And I think if you repeatedly hear it and you repeatedly see it, if you're a visionary, and it doesn't go away, then you have to do it. It's something else that's telling you, your intuition, or something like the universe is telling you, go with this, do this, whether it's for somebody else or for yourself, because it might bring joy or it might bring something else to somebody else that they needed, or that they need it in their life. And I kind of feel that way, like kind of like how we employ people, and we're able to change lives. And that's kind of the culture that I kind of tell the employees is that, follow your dreams, chase your dreams, go with what your mind is telling you to do. And once you start, I think, listening to that little voice in our head, um, things that'll start falling into place. And that's what I've just been kind of doing in the last couple of years, especially. I would say definitely the last couple of years. And I'm still learning how to perfect that and how to correct it and listen. And a big part is saying no, because once, like, people like us, everyone's like, they're attracted to you. So they just kind of like, they want to pull from you, or have you by their side, and you have to kind of just step back and you're like, I have my stuff up here, you need to focus on your stuff.
Right. Well, and I mean, you definitely have a magnetic personality, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that
thank you.
happens with you.
Yeah, you
You're
too.
like, so you're like, well, thank you. But so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
learning to say, okay, does what this person wants align with what I'm already trying to do, or is it in my values, like in kind of in my sort of operating system? Does it make sense? Because
Mhm.
as you expand, you end up having more and more opportunities often, right? And
Yeah.
so then it's
Yeah.
also learning how to distinguish between those. So you talked about leaning into your intuition, and you said very quickly, and especially since you got sober. And so
Mhm.
you got,
Yeah.
how long ago did you get sober?
3.5 years. Yeah. 3.5 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was May, I'll never forget. It was May 20th. May 20th. That was the day. So that was the
Okay.
morning. I just woke up one morning. It was a night of, you know, I didn't drink like every day. It was just one of those things that when I did drink, I drank a lot. It was,
Yeah. Yeah.
it
I've
was
been
like,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was like those 2-day hangovers as you get older, that nothing is getting done. And so it was it was an eye-opening experience. I just kind of woke up one day and after a heavy night of having like 4 or 5 Cosmos, and my husband makes a great cosmopolitan. So if you ever come and visit or we get together, you have to have him make you a
Okay.
cosmopolitan.
Okay. I
Yeah,
will. I
he's amazing
will.
at making a cosmopolitan. So after a heavy night of drinking the next morning, I just kind of that's where I started hearing the intuition part of me, where I heard this voice and it was like, run $1 million company or run with the booze. And that's exactly what I heard, as clear as day. And I
Whoa.
was like,
I just got chills, actually.
yeah,
That's like,
yeah.
whew.
And so it was just that voice. And I was like, okay, wherever that came from, or whoever said that, or whoever it was, I'm gonna listen to that because it was stern, it was loud, and it was as clear as day, and I wasn't drunk. I was
Right.
hungover, but I wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop this, maybe not forever, but I'll just stop this. And I just haven't picked up a drink since, and I don't miss it. It's just one of those things where I knew the type of person that I was. I was always a happy person. I was never like an angry drunk or anything like that. But my productivity was very low at that point, because I would be down for 2 days and then I would drink again and then I'd be down for 2 days. And then, if you're lacking out, like we're kind of led, it's that's when you need to know that you have kind of a problem, even though that you're not drinking every day. So it
Right.
was time. It was time, there was too many times, I spent a lot of time in my life drinking since I was, 15 years old, 14 years old. My dad was an alcoholic too. So, it was, and he, died because of his alcoholism. So it was time, at that point in my life. And sometimes I think it was probably maybe him that was, kind of being stern
Right.
and saying something like that to me. So,
Like,
yeah. So
don't do the same thing as me. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I think that once and again, that led into this whole amazing discovery of like spirituality and intuition and really just kind of living my life with like integrity and accountability and honesty and just trying to be the best version of myself that I've always have tried to be, except I was drunk a lot of times and I wasn't able to be that person. Um, and it just changed. Everything just changed in my whole entire life. Our marriage changed with my husband. My friendships changed. My business changed. We grew at a huge level. And I became more focused and just more listening to that mindset of, when something tells you something, follow it. Like I do it a lot with meeting people. When I meet people, and if I just get a feeling like that icky kind of like
Mhm.
inside, I'm just like, mm, I don't know what it is, but no, we're not
No.
clicking, and there's just
Is
something
that is
about,
that new? Is that new for you, that you're like, that you don't just kind of try to push through that or rationalize your
uh,
way through that? Or have you?
I've always kind of been that way, but it's more in tune now. It's like
Okay.
really on point. So I
Yeah.
can get in and tell you a story
Yeah.
about that. And it's just one of those things like you follow your intuition. Like recently, like a couple months ago, I met with one of my competitors and I was like, okay, like, let's have lunch, sure, why not? They called me and, it's funny, they always hire all the people that I fire, and never call me. And so this time they did call me and they said, is so-and-so eligible for rehire? And I said, no. And, so a couple weeks, we congratulated each other on our successes, because they're probably about the same business size as us, and there's plenty of business to go around. So I wished them much success and congratulations. And they said, "Oh, let's get to lunch." And so we got to lunch, and before we went to lunch, I knew that they had hired this employee, and even though that I said no, they weren't eligible for rehire. So I meditated on it, right? And I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I talk about? Do I say why, And I meditated on this before, and that what I got was, integrity. Let them be the person to come out and say that they hired this person anyway. So I went to this lunch and I'm sitting there and we're talking and we're having, great conversation and this and that. And I opened up the door multiple times for them to come out and say that they hired them, right?
Right.
And they never did, right? They never said anything. So right then and there, I just kind of said to myself, okay, this person doesn't have any integrity, because if we are going to collaborate and work together or, try to, be the two biggest, companies, you have no integrity. And so I had mentioned also another employee that had said that they took a leave of absence. Like she said her husband's only kidney was failing and that she had to go and be with him in the hospital. And for some reason, I just kind of thought to myself, again, you go with the intuition, right? I thought to myself, I don't think they're telling the truth. Like I don't think and it's horrible, right? It's this horrible thing. And my husband's telling me, Aaron, that's horrible. Her husband's dying with one kidney. And I'm like,
She's a liar.
I think she's a liar. I'm like, I just don't buy it. So then they come in, right? They come in and they return their stuff because they're resigning because they want to go spend time with their husband. And so she's like crying and, this and that and returning her stuff. And I'm like, and I say to this one employee, well, I wish you the best of luck and this and that. She walks out the door and I looked at my husband. I go, she's lying. I said, I guarantee you she went to our competitor to work. And he goes, how do you know that? I said, up here in my heart, I'm like, it's my intuition. I'm telling you. He goes, I don't know. Why would somebody ever lie about something like that? And I go, because people don't have accountability and they don't have integrity. I said, and good riddance, because that's not what our culture is based on, right? That's one of our core values.
Right.
So soon enough, I find out. Yeah. So I'll finish the
keep going. No, keep going. No, keep going. This is good.
So I find out, right? So I look and I go, yup, there you have it. Here's this employee that lied about her husband as well, right? Dying of the only kidney that she gave him, right?
Oh, come
That's
on.
what she's, yeah.
So it's just too fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. So then I see on Facebook, employee of the month on her Facebook page. And
sorry.
I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, I sat at lunch with you, thinking to myself, sat at lunch with the owner of this company and told you about this one particular employee because I just had a feeling that you hired her anyway. That you hired her. So I wanted her to know what type of person she was. So long story short, she was never really at her husband in the hospital. She left us to go do this big job with her while she still worked for us. And my competitor allowed another employee to promote employees that currently worked for me to go work for her. And so it was like this big thing. I had to send like cease and desist letters and, and it just, you think to yourself, if that's how you run your company, you have no integrity,
right?
And so, I pray that one day that they do, right? Because I never wish any ill on anyone. But you're inviting in that chaos, and so, no magic will bring integrity. You either
Right.
have it or you don't have it.
Yeah.
And you have to learn the hard way, to really, really be that person to just have integrity, like, and so I walked away and I shook my head and I was just kind of like, you know what? Uh, I would never, and I even said at lunch, I would never hire one of your employees that works for me. I just wouldn't. I just think that it's just not good business.
Right.
And sure enough, a couple weeks later, you start seeing things that we do, like on their Facebook page, and constantly like copying off of us, and so, and it's flattery. Believe me, it's I'm flattered that you copy,
Right.
but it's
Right.
just I just think it's just, regardless if you're in the same business or not in the same business, don't, like, have respect for your other competitors, and live your business, have your business with
Yeah.
integrity and honesty. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
and
was just, yeah,
I love that story. Sorry.
yeah.
Like it's because I've dealt with some of that stuff as a business owner without a doubt. And
Mhm.
it can be really easy to want to turn and be vindictive or
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah,
but it like
yeah,
that's you acting or me acting out of integrity. So I never
yeah,
have. Like I'm like, hey, there's
mhm,
enough business to go around, but
yeah,
like don't be a dick.
yeah,
Like there's
yeah,
no reason. There's just like
yeah,
literally no reason. And so
yeah.
but it can
It's
be
like,
hard to not react at times to it.
yeah, and I just kind of thought about it, and I was just like, you know what? You have so much to learn, and it's unfortunate because we could have had a really good friendship, and building, a business to really, we're two totally
Right.
different brands.
Referrals and all of that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
working together, fundraising. I mean, there could have been a lot of different things. I had this idea, again, the visionary, right? And I was like, when the first conversation, I was like, oh, we should do something like a funny skit, like, we're having a duel with feather dusters, with our company
Right,
shirts
right.
on,
Totally, totally.
yeah, like walking down the street against each other, but it's like, I can never be friends with somebody that does something like that. Like,
No.
you allowed one of my former employees that I told you wasn't eligible for rehire to come and recruit employees that currently work for me.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
hello. That's yeah,
it's
no,
just,
like
yeah,
stay away, stay away.
yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
it's just that's a bad business
yeah,
owner, an entrepreneur. So
yeah, yeah. Hey, friend, a quick break to ask you to please go to livebrightshow.com to be added to my email list. Here's the thing. I hate email, so I pretty much guarantee you're not going to receive anything excessive. Only important things like when I have new options in my coaching program, offer free challenges, new courses, release a new pod, or perhaps an occasional biz life tip. That's livebrightshow.com. Now back to the pod. Let me
mhm.
ask you, so what would you recommend to somebody? Because hearing you talk about intuition and leaning
Mhm.
into it and listening to yourself and just knowing, and like Tony, your husband, being like, but how do you know? Like, I think that there's something to be learned in there. Like, you're like, it's just there.
Mhm.
So what would you say to somebody who's trying to um, hear the intuition or feel the intuition and trust the intuition? What would you
Yeah.
advise them?
I would say when you're stuck on something, and you need guidance, right? Is to really just kind of set yourself apart from everything in life and go into a place where it's completely quiet. You know, take a walk in the woods and sit down on a tree that has fallen down. Take off your shoes, get your feet in the dirt. That's so important because you're connecting and grounding yourself to the earth. Go and sit by the water and listen to the water or the river or a creek, and close your eyes and ask for that guidance or ask what you're stuck on. I think once you learn how to do that more and more, you receive the answers. You receive that voice, and it's given to. I get emotional talking about, but it's there for all of us. I think that we all have it. It's just a matter of tapping into it, and I think it's really important that we take that time, because we're always so hard on ourselves, especially entrepreneurs, and we're always thinking that we could do better, or we didn't do good enough, or when we're always beating ourselves up, right? And sometimes you just need to take that 10, 15 minutes or a half hour and walk away, shut the computer down and just say, I'm going for a walk. And just kind of tap into that that sound and that voice and listen for that answer. It's so important, because if something is telling you, you walk away, from something that's frustrating, whether it's a person, whether it's a project that you're doing, or just anything in life, right? If something is telling you to walk away, walk away. That's your
Yeah.
voice telling you to, right?
Yeah.
I did that with one of my ex-relationships. I was in a abusive relationship before I met my husband. And one day I was just like, you know what? You can have it all. Have it all. I'm packing up my bags and a few suitcases and walking away. And that was my other really big point in my life where besides becoming sober, is listening to that voice where it was just like somebody yelling at me, you know?
Wow. I
Yeah.
just kind
And
of,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And that's I think that's a huge part of learning. It's like when you're out drinking, right? And you know that you're getting drunk and that voice tells you you shouldn't have that other drink, you know,
Right.
don't have that other drink. Or, you know that you shouldn't be getting behind the wheel of the car because you had a couple drinks too many. Well, that's your intuition. That's the little voice telling you not to do it. And,
Right.
so I think that the more that, it's like lying, right? And that you're lying, and something's telling you not to do that. That's your intuition. So I think it's really important to focus on that, just for people, for growth and healing, right? We all need a lot of
Mm-hmm.
healing,
We
regardless of,
do.
yeah, yeah, regardless of where we came from. Every human being, it's a natural thing just to be kinder to ourselves, to love ourselves, and to heal, and to know
Yeah.
that I love Golden Girls, right? So I grew up with it with my grandmother, and a lot of, I think, kids like our
Thank
age
you
do.
for being a friend. I think
Yeah,
I'm like a
yeah,
year older than you. So yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So um, there was I came across Rue McClanahan was accepting an Emmy speech, and she said that her mother had always said every
yeah.
kick is a boost,
Mm.
it stuck out to me because I was like, you know what, it is, because every kick is a boost to correct something or to get better. It's if you don't look at it as a boost to make it better, you'll just constantly be kicked. So you kind of look at it and say, we did have a lot of kicks, we have a lot of kicks in our lives, but we have a lot of boosts. But you got to take every kick as a boost to make something better, because not everything is going to be perfect in life. That's just how it is,
That's just
you
how it is. And
know?
I love
Yeah.
that because there's a book, well, I'm sure you've heard of the Stoic philosophies just because of how you're
Mhm.
talking, but Ryan Holiday wrote a book called The Obstacle is the Way.
Mhm.
And it's that same thing. Like every kick is a boost, but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so every obstacle that you come on, like there, it is the way forward in your life. Like no matter, so
Yeah.
you get to decide how you deal with it. And for me, that's I mean, I'm like not a philosopher, but
Mhm.
I try to get into it a little bit just for my
Yeah.
own grounding and growing and whatever, and thinking about things outside of myself. And for me, that's been a really helpful way of thinking about issues as they've come up. Like,
Mhm.
okay, like this freaking sucks. So
Yeah.
what's the lesson? How am I gonna, what
Yeah.
am I gonna, and not to be like a positive Polly or whatever, but there's like a lesson in
Mhm.
everything. There's something, even in the worst of times, there's
Yeah.
something that we can take from it. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean,
yeah.
and that's the thing. I think that once we realize that, okay, you can't be like, why is this happening? Oh, why me? Why me? Well, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that's
Right.
being given to you. How do you handle it, right? And that's another thing. Like the other night, I came across where somebody was complaining about. They were complaining about how somebody was pushing their buttons, right? Well, they pushed my buttons and I lost my shit, right? And well, you need to figure out, like, what to do with that button. You should get rid of that button so you have no buttons to press, right?
Right.
It's up to us. We are the ones that are in charge of our life and how we act, right? It's not what other people do to us. Other people, there's a lot of people out there that aren't kind, that aren't nice, that are vindictive,
Right.
that have, and I always say, what's your intention? Like when I hire people, right? What's your intention? When working with us, right? Like, what's your intention for coming here and to try to get a job with us? Because I weed out the people right away that just come and try to work for us to learn how we do things to run to start their own company, right? So I get it right out in the beginning, like right in the first, day, if even on board, we fire you if, because the universe will tell us. And I think that the more that you're in tune, with yourself and your spirituality and your human life, right? I think that the more that we're in tune here, the more that the universe will reveal to us, right? The universe will reveal people that have no integrity to us. The universe will reveal liars to us. The universe will reveal people that aren't kind or truthful or all those things, right? Because when you live your life with your soul purpose connected to your soul energy, the universe is going to protect you. So that's how I just kind of look at it. Like, we're going to be protected from those people, right? Because the universe is going to reveal their actions and why they are who they are to us. And it just happens to me all the time, like, and I let people know that. I'm like, listen, whatever your intention is, if it's good or bad, the universe is going to let me know.
You tell people that off the bat when you're hiring them?
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
we go into this, and it's funny because I hire people, right? So this just happened the last week. So I hired 3 people, and I go through this whole spiel about, I hired them on the spot, right? The 3 of them, and I do some group interviews because I like to see how people interact with other people, and if they repeat the same thing that the other person just said, then they can't think for themselves. So it's this whole like psychology thing. So when I ask them, and I'm like, and I go after I say, okay, I would like to offer you the position. Can you come in tomorrow? Yes, right? So then I go into the whole, our core values: integrity, honesty, accountability. What's your intention of coming to work for us? I also ask people if they volunteer. That's a new thing, because I want people that volunteer, because then they have empathy. So I get all these people, and I go through this whole spiel of the whole thing about integrity and intention. And the next day, one shows up.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah. It's so, my husband's like, why do you do that? And I'm like, because we're weeding out the people with no integrity,
Right.
And, because then they walk out the door and they're like, oh, I can't work for him. He's going to know I'm a bad person, or I'm here to try to figure out how he runs his business, or, and I tell them right off the bat, if you're the type of person that falls out, you're the type of person that does this, if you lie, cheat, or steal, this isn't the place for you. So it's interesting. It works. It really does. We have I think we have 23 employees right now. And they're just, all of them are really amazing, because I took over that part of onboarding and hiring and weeding the people out, and letting them know what type of company we are, what's our culture, what's our intention, what's our, and our integrity. So, I tell them about my sobriety. I tell them about my life growing up. So, I just want to be very transparent with them. I tell them how I don't micromanage, that we're adults and we should be able to manage our own lives. And I say, if you can't manage your own life, then this isn't the job for you, because you're not going to be able to manage working by yourself. So,
I love that. I love that. I'm going to share some of that. I'm going to share some of this with our hiring manager. Actually. Yeah.
And
Interesting.
It really works. And you wind up getting the best of the best, I believe. Our employees right now are, they're just our scorecards, right? Like our scorecards. I don't know. Do you use Made Central?
We do at Green State.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
So like right now, like since I've been doing this, we jumped up to like a 99% overall in the company.
That's awesome.
thing, like just in the last few weeks. And since we've done this, it's skyrocketed. And everyone's complimenting how great the cleaners are, and you can tell that they really care. And yeah, so just
That's
in the last couple of weeks.
That's awesome, Aaron. So actually, this is a great segue because, like I said, I usually start these pods in a certain way. I'm going to go back to the beginning and ask you a question because I love this. I love learning this. How did you decide to become an entrepreneur? You worked for other people, and then you started a cleaning company in 2018. How did that happen? And yeah, tell us about that.
So I always had like a food and beverage background. So I always worked in restaurants. I was like a waiter. I was never a bartender. I don't know. I was like, four hands and behind the bar. I tried it. It never worked. I could only drink liquor. So that was as good as it came, right? So
and a husband who can make a good Cosmo, right?
Yeah,
you found that.
yeah. He turned into the bartender and I just drank them. So when I met my husband, it was a time where I was coming out of a really, horrible relationship. And I mean, not horrible. I learned a lot of lessons from that relationship, what not to do in my next relationship, right? And my husband and I have been together for 14 years now.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So we've been to civil union for 10 or no, yeah, married. Yes, like married for 10. We just celebrated our 10th, but yeah. So we I kind of when I met my husband, my whole life changed. I mean, it was just all these wonderful things started happening. And it was I think the lesson that I learned with that was what it was like to be loved, truly, and to be in a relationship to really truly love someone. And when we met each other, we basically had said, listen, I don't want to raise my voice. I don't want to argue. I don't want to not be able to talk and have a conversation, because we both came from, those types of relationships of yelling, screaming, abusiveness. And that was just one of those things that when we decided to get together and be together, we just weren't going to have that. So all these wonderful things happen, and
you're very intentional from the get-go. Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
So we basically, we married, and it was a time where I wanted to go back to school. So, because I never finished my degree. So I went back to school for business, and he supported me, like, anything that I want to do, he's always supporting me 100%. So I went back to school for business. And then when I was graduating, we were buying our first house, and we were moving about an hour and 15 away. And so I got done with school, and we moved an hour and 15 away. And we said, it's like, oh, you got to get a job. It's like, you graduated now. So he's like, you got to get a job. So I was like, okay. So I went and I got a job in the food and beverage business at a casino. And that was like I was a manager there. And that was like the worst job I ever had. It was horrible. It was so bad. People are losing money, so they're not happy people. So yeah, you're in an environment where it's not think of the percentage of people that are actually winning money and happy. Not a lot.
At casinos, yeah. No, the house always wins, right?
Yeah. So I went there, and then when I left there, I got another job, and I was a food and beverage director at a golf course. And I was doing everything there, working 70 hours a week, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And I thought to myself, this is crazy. Like, when I figure out how much I'm making an hour, I'm like, I'm changing somebody else's business, making it successful, doing all these things. Making them money, right? And not seeing any bonuses. And so I just woke up one day, and I said to my husband, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know yet. I said, I went to school for business. I'm going to open up my own business. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. I said, I'm going to do something that I love. And so he goes, all right, you have a couple months, we can swing this. And so that was like on a Sunday. And then that Wednesday he came home, and we're going on a cruise. I was like, listen, we're going on a cruise. Like I got, there was like the meltdown, right? Like the meltdown.
Yeah.
And so we went on this cruise to Bermuda, and Bermuda is absolutely beautiful. Have you ever been there?
I was there as a babysitter when I was like 15 years old with one of
Okay.
my
All
cousins.
right.
So
Yeah.
no is really
Okay.
the answer,
Yeah.
right?
So we did a cruise, and so Elbow Beach, right? So Elbow Beach is just, it's just spectacular. It's not very touristy. It's a high-end beach. And so we were sitting there, and just the way I was thinking about what I wanted to do for business, and just the way that the sun was like hitting the water. You know how you sometimes see that, just that
Oh,
reflection, and it's so beautiful.
yeah.
And I was thinking about all the things that I wanted to do. And then I turned to my husband and I said, I'm going to open a cleaning company. And he looked at me and he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open a cleaning company. And because I love to clean and I love to organize. So that's basically how it started. And I built,
Wow.
yeah. And I came home and hit the ground running, and just basically like I built the website. I just came out of school, maybe like a couple years. So I knew how to do all these things. And so I just built the company, and I was really good at marketing. I think that I kind of still am. You have to keep up with technology and all that stuff. But I just, built the company. And then before you know it, like we're almost at 300 customers right now. So
Awesome.
yeah. So
You
we're
scale
pretty
pretty quick.
big.
You scale pretty quickly. I mean, and when I first met you, you were doing commercial and residential. And now, are you
Mhm.
still doing both? Are you more
We
residential now?
are, yeah, we are still doing commercial. We're very heavily requested for the commercial, but what we're doing is we're separating the companies now. So
Okay.
totally different employees, totally different staff, and just kind of breaking them apart because
Okay.
I mean, commercial and residential is two totally different things.
Different beasts. Different beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
and a lot of it is part-time. So we
Hmm.
find those people that are looking to work nighttime, part-time.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it works. It's like, but you have the roller coaster moments of running your own business, and I think that we'll always have those. Nothing will be perfect, but as long as we set our procedures in place, and we follow them, I think that it's a good foundation to get everything to work. And I've
Totally.
spent a lot of time doing that. As you know, it's like it's always changing. As we grow and we get bigger, you hit something else. And I always find that it's always about a quarter million. So that's my experience. I feel like at every quarter million, you experience something different in
Hmm.
revenue. So I have my markers of things that happen to me at every quarter
Interesting.
million.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious. I don't know if
yeah.
I would, I don't know if I would do it at that. I break it down. I always thought, I've always said, okay, $1 million business is different than 1.5 million than a two. I think I've thought more in terms of like the 500s, but
Hmm.
I think you might be more tuned in and more
Yeah,
intuitive than I am. So you're probably right. It probably is about every 250 or so,
yeah.
because
Just
what that also means is a certain number of employees, and
mhm.
then what worked, what worked at 500 doesn't work at 2 or
No,
whatever. So
no.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's an interesting thing. Yeah, it's
yeah,
well, Aaron, okay, we only have a few minutes left. I want to respect your time, and I
yeah,
actually I have so many more questions for you, but you know what? You're just gonna
yeah.
have to
I'll
come
come
back
back.
another time. You'll come
Yeah,
back. Yeah, you'll come
yeah,
back. But
definitely.
I've really loved this conversation, and I really loved getting into the stuff around intuition, and I think that there's
Yeah,
just stuff that anyone could pull from. So thank you for that, and thanks for sharing your
yeah,
story.
yeah, definitely. We gotta take some time for ourselves, and when we become too overwhelmed, I think it's very important to learn that you have to break away from what you're doing. Whether it's going to get a pedicure or getting a haircut, or getting your nails done. Like I was getting my haircut before, and they do like the whole towel and the shave and the hot, and I was just sitting there and I was like, oh, this is just so nice and relaxing right now.
Yeah,
And
nice.
yeah, we have to get into that space, because you'll spend more time running in circles
It's true.
than
It's
yeah,
totally true. It's totally
yeah.
true.
Hmm.
So I like to end these interviews with a little fun rapid fire game. Are you up
Okay.
for playing?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Okay. So
Yeah.
here's the basic rule. I'm gonna rapid fire some things at you, and if you're like, I don't want to answer that, or I can't answer that, all you do is say skip, and I go on to the next one. All right? Does that sound
I
good?
love this. And wait, what are we doing? Is that going to be the next show, like the game show, like an extended? I want to be a I want to be a co-host on that.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah,
We'd have a
I
good
think
time,
we
right?
would have a blast.
Yeah, we would. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start out with some easy ones, and then we'll get into
Okay.
like maybe a little more challenging ones. There's only like
All right.
6 or 7 of them. So, all right,
Okay.
so we'll go with this. Like favorite pizza.
Sausage and pepperoni.
Okay. Favorite hobby.
Water. Being by the water, beach.
Beach.
Like
Okay.
yeah. I know it's not really
Yeah.
like a hobby, but anytime that I can, like we're going to St. John in January for 2 weeks.
Oh.
You should come. Definitely come. We're going the 8th to the 22nd. We rented a house, and I think Stacy's going to be there at the same time.
Okay.
Like definitely. Oh yeah. But like,
that'd be fun. Okay. All
oh
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Vacation. Yeah, I would say favorite hobby, like vacationing.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a travel hobbyist. So okay. So vacationing.
Mhm.
So let's see. The latest movie or your favorite movie or favorite TV show.
My favorite movie would be The Joy Luck Club. I just absolutely loved that movie, and I would say my favorite TV show would be Golden Girl.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. Favorite activity to do on a Sunday.
Spend time. I'm trying to do this more, right? Spend time with family or talking to family.
Okay. Okay. I like it. All right. Would you rather go up in a spaceship for a week or go explore under the sea for a week?
Oh, that's really hard because I don't like heights and I don't like being underwater.
Skip.
That's definitely a skip. I figure maybe I would probably take the spaceship because I think that I'm very like connected to something out there, right? So
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
spaceship. Yeah.
Okay.
Being underwater, like, and I grew up on the beach my whole life, right? I'm terrified of the ocean, like terrified. Like, yeah, it's so weird.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little, interesting. Okay. One more. Would you rather? Would you rather be completely covered in hair, like a bear man, like complete, or hot all the time?
Or what?
Hot, like just hot all the time, where you're like, oh my God, it's so hot. I'm so hot.
That's hard. I would say either. It wouldn't really bother me.
Okay. You're like,
I'm hairy already, right? I'm already a hairy person.
This question that question lands differently with women.
Yeah, I guess it does. You might have to change it a little bit from men. I'm already hairy, so I know what it's like to be a bear.
Okay, awesome. All right,
and yeah.
And go ahead, and you don't mind being hot.
And being hot, I mean, my husband's totally different. He doesn't like being hot, like, but I don't mind the humidity. I don't mind like being hot. Like, I'll just take my clothes off. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just be in a pair of like running shorts.
Just be naked. So. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Yeah. Last question. And it's a little more serious. Do you feel like you have created this kick-ass life? Like you've got, like, I only interview people on here who are living life on their terms. They're really doing it well. So
yeah.
Have you, and I feel like I already know the answer because we've discussed some of it, but is it by design or by luck that you've landed where you are?
I think that I'm blessed. I think luck is so I went to this round table and I'll say this, and I tell everybody this, right? Self-determination leads to prosperity, right? And I think it determines how determined you are in your life to determine like your luckiness and how blessed you are. So I think that repeat the first part. Because I'll like think about this a little bit.
Create it by intention or by luck, like where you are.
Think
by design.
Yeah,
intention.
I think it's created by intention and design. Because it's me and my husband that are wanting this lifestyle. That want more. We decided that we didn't want we had a big house, right? We had this big, huge house. And 3-car garage, and it was this gorgeous home that we redid. all these bedrooms, right? Like 5, 6 bedrooms. It was like crazy. Nobody came and stayed in them. And we were like, why do we have this house? And so then we decided to simplify our life. And that's when we sold everything. And we were like, let's buy a building, put our business downstairs, live upstairs, and just, kind of, design it that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, I would say design,
Okay.
the first part. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Aaron, thank you for
Yeah,
coming on the Live
thank
Bright
you.
Show. It was
Oh,
so
it was
much
awesome.
fun. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And people, you can find Aaron on Instagram, Facebook, Platinum Star Cleaning Services online. It's a very easy website to find. It's a beautiful website, by the way. Aaron, it was
Thank
great.
you.
It was great seeing you. And
Yeah. You too, Molly.
all right, have an awesome day. And remember, live bright.
Thanks. You too.
And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Live Bright Show. If you enjoyed this pod, please go to livebrightshow.com to be in the know for new program offerings and podcast releases. Molly has more awesome guests and content coming your way, so you're going to want to be on that list. Also, just because you're still listening, it would be incredible if you could go ahead and subscribe to this podcast and provide the show with a 5-star review. You know how they help. Go forth, have fun, and live bright, friends.